All right, this is Workplace Whispers.
Whispers.
And now this is a very colorful edition of the podcast. Trust me, burst of colors. I could be Lady Pink, and then she could be Lady.
I don't know. I think is this zebra now because this is different colors.
And then our guest, which you can see already, beautiful dressed, green. But that's not, it's not about colors today, but it's going to be as interesting as what we're going to talk about here on the show. But you know how we do it here on Workplace Whispers. We keep it real. Everything that has to do with the workplace, staff room conversations, those
All
ones
those
that
gossips,
that you can't talk about.
juicy gossips.
Why are you always all about the gossip? And
Like, why not? Why not? If not,
I mean, we're supposed to be very good, ambassadors of where we work. We don't gossip.
gossips could be good gossip. It doesn't have to be bad.
What
It
if
doesn't
it's
have to be
tarnishing
negative.
the image of the person you're? I mean, why are you gossiping?
Okay, what's the definition of gossip now? But before we start talking about
I mean,
English, can we just go for
The
that?
funny thing is that you don't even, your manners. I've not even introduced you to the show, and you have come and collect the show. Yeah. But anyway, guys, trust me, today is going to be a very impactful, entertaining, informative conversation. But my name is Praise, and the girl that has been talking, you can know already.
What
She's
can I
just
do?
gonna be.
What can I do? I think I
Well,
usually show
I
myself.
don't know. We love you that way. Her name is Anne, beautiful Anne. Anne, do something for the camera.
Yeah, guys, welcome on board. My name is Anne Okoro Afo. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I need to learn that thing from you. You know what I'm saying?
You need to learn
Every
it. I
time.
mean, it's so
Oh my
up to the
goodness.
point.
Anyway, guys, away from up to the point, let's get down to very, very interesting conversations and get down to business. We have a very important guest joining us today. The things that we talk about, we can't say them without, having the experts come here and point us in the right direction. Things that have to do with the workplace we mentioned earlier, employee satisfaction, just, general knowledge when it comes to the HR space. And I'm so glad today that we have, when we say someone that knows her onion,
Aye.
she knows it back to
Aye.
back. Yeah.
All those onions that are not the ones that are white, but the ones that have brown pack. Those ones that they are original. That they are
Is that
really
fake
from the
onion,
north.
Anne?
No, there's this onion that is just white. It's not as hot as the
Okay.
ones that have brown pack.
Okay, so our guest is not fake onion.
That's
She's
the
the real
point.
deal.
She's the
All
real
right,
deal.
guys. I'm talking about a very, top-notch, seasoned HR professional. Talking about the head people and culture at Core, and also the founder of Naija Job
Oh my
Hub.
goodness, this is where the drum rolls. Come on,
Thank
guys.
you very much. Now you do your job. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome the amazing, the oh my god, the amazing. Aldeshala Aliogo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. And I don't think I should have been here the last 3 minutes. You guys were just having fun. And it's funny that you talked about onions. I actually think my friends call me an onion, and that's because there are many sides to me, right? And I think you already know one side, apart from the HR one. So thank you so much for having me. I'm happy and excited to be here.
Really excited to have you
Yeah.
here too.
Super
Thank
excited, and let's go down to that onion part. I know one part already. Thankfully, I know that part by virtue of the fact that I'm very, who I am. And journalists, we have to go deep.
You have to go. You just have to probe.
even the places where you should not go to. But people are wondering, HR professional, we want to know about the journey. Why HR? It could have been anything. You could have done more, you could have explored more sides, you could have unraveled more like that onion, and all of that.
Yes, and before you just delve right into something else, I was speaking to a young person some time ago, and he was saying that he was born from a poor background, so he would do anything to make money. Now, any legit thing. So he has tried different things. If he hears that you can make money in HR, he will delve into that. You can make money in data analysis, he will delve into that. So I want to understand too. Was it like that for you, or you just knew from the onset that HR is my thing, and you headed straight down there?
I don't know about doing everything or anything that is legit that brings money. I mean, you can't do everything, but you can explore different sides and different gifts that you have. So I think I'll start with your question. So how did I get to HR? I don't think that it was planned. Because I studied business administration in school. In my last year, I did a course in human resources management. But that was it. And so I, of course, getting into work in 2010, I just wanted to get a job, get to work, and start earning money. In fact, I remember that I used to envision wearing an ID card. I thought it was normal to just hang
Do you
your
know I
ID
had a
card
card
on
in
the
school?
neck. and no, all over Lagos.
Okay.
Was one day my mom warned me after I got the job. Mama, they got kidnapped. Let them kidnap you, this girl. So basically, I got this job, and it was an accounts officer job.
Yeah.
Literally just sitting in the accounts office, processing payments, and then logging them in the right account and all of that. We're using a platform called, I think, iScala at the time. But after about 3 years, I knew that somehow I just knew that I needed to make a decision, and that's also because I was beginning to face pressure, especially from my dad, who wanted me to study accounting, right? And based on that, I had to make a decision. Accounting was of course not accounting, because I hated maths and I didn't see myself.
Really?
Although there was a friend of mine who my very close friend, we're still very good friends today. We graduated and she started at AC and all, and so I asked myself what next. And I remember an experience that I had when I was joining the company that I joined. My first conversation with somebody who was sort of welcoming me, something that we call onboarding today, said to me, "What you can do for here now?" And, I never forgot that statement, even till today. That's exactly how he said it, and I was shocked, and I was like, "What do you mean by what you can do for here now?" And so he said, "People know they grow for here."
Really?
I was like, "Okay." And the church girl in me just said, "I'll greet Jesus' name."
Amen.
I just said it in my mind, right? But that also sort of made me start asking questions. How is this the person who is welcoming me on my first day?
Your first day, imagine I would have run away.
How is this the first conversation?
The first
that
thing you're
somebody's having
hearing
with me?
Yeah.
So, but then I hadn't made up my mind. At the time I needed to not make that decision, I started asking about HR. And so I said, you know what, okay, since I can't do, I can. Let me even just go and do CIPM and see where it leads me. So I did that. Because I didn't get into HR until, let me see, maybe about 2 years or so after, within my organization. So somehow, it was out of curiosity, I'd say. Yes, I had a bit of the knowledge of it based on the course I'd done in school. I think I passed that course well as well. So I was curious. And I also used to I have a very imaginative mind. And so I used to wonder how people used to what do HR people do? How do they bring people together to get work done? How do you find the people? Those were the questions I was asking. What's this work, Seth? HR, man. What are they doing?
Right.
And that's because even at that time, not a lot was being done besides hiring, paying you your salary, all right? So my question was, I think it was even from sheer curiosity of what are they doing in that place? The way a lot of people say these days, like HR, they don't have work. Just to hire people. Some people say it like that out of ignorance, right? And so it was that curiosity that got me in there, and then that whole point of, because I never knew what onboarding or anything was, I never knew about the terms as much, and that was really it. So how I finally got in was my organization was now restructuring at the time.
Okay.
And so they had told us that they were going to let people go. They were going to sort of, what's the word now?
Retrench?
No, not even retrench. They were going to reassign people to, different parts of the business. And so at the time, of course, I was also affected, but not in a bad way, right? I was redeployed to another part of the business. I was still on the same role. It was at that time I really asked myself, Shola, how long do you want to do this for? So I just walked up to somebody in the HR department at the time, and his response to me was, they know they take people for here. Like they know they take people.
First of all,
They know they take people for HR. And I was like, why?
Okay.
Say, I don't know why. When people come, they don't put people in HR. I said, okay, no problem. I left the guy. I went back. I thought about it. And the funny thing is, I didn't have a coach or anything. But there's something that I do.
Okay.
I talk to myself a lot.
I was going to say that.
Till date. It's not madness. I will just sit in front of my mirror. I have conversations with myself. Like you see me talking to myself, like, are you sure you're okay?
Like, girl,
that
what's they
type of
really
thing.
so?
So I spoke to myself again. Are you going to let this guy tell you no and you take it
How
like
old were
that?
you when all of this was happening?
Let me see. This
You
was
can
20. This was.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the year. I know I got into HR in 2014. So I think it was like a year before then.
Okay.
Right. So I then walked up to the head of HR himself. I saw the guy. I said, "You got the office." He said, "What do you want?" "I want to see him." "What do you mean?" I just walked into him. And he was a white guy. "Good afternoon." And I told him, no, so it was the black person, the Nigerian I first spoke to.
Okay.
So coincidentally, the overall head, the group head, was also sitting. And then they just asked themselves, oh, that it was the white guy who asked the Nigerian. I'm trying not to mention names.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Do we have space?" I must say, yes, it's like we need somebody. Okay, don't worry. That was it.
That was it.
You know,
Can you imagine?
and that was it. And of course, when I got into the place, the other guy who had said no tried to make it difficult for me, right, by giving me some very mundane tasks to do and all of that.
It stressed you out.
Feels like
And
it was
even
a
with
big
and
professional
even
degree
with
to hit
those
that career.
Yeah.
mundane tasks, if he asked me to say clean this cup, I'd make sure it's the best cleaned cup you've ever seen, right? So for me, I think my getting into HR is a story of courage, a story of resilience, persistence, because I mean, as we go along the line, you probably, if you go through my career history, you probably will find that there was a time that I was at home for some
Yeah, I
months.
did.
You see that
before. I
space,
also
right?
job for a while.
But for me, it's about just having a vision of, what I want, and then doing whatever I need to do, whatever in the confine of my faith, my values, my beliefs, to make sure that I get it.
I mean, you just summed up everything in one. You talked about two very interesting things: curiosity and then that clarity bit. Talking about the fact that you didn't have a career coach.
Oh yes,
You know,
at the time.
It's very, very interesting because young people now, especially getting into careers, we have that whole notion about career coaching, clarity. Clarity for us. We don't know what we want to do yet,
Okay.
where we want to do. But you saw something, you just found your hands doing it hands-on and all that. But where's the place of coaching, all of that,
Mentorship.
and mentorship for young people?
Okay, so the fact that I said I didn't have doesn't make it the best thing to have happened, right? Yes, I didn't have, but somehow, maybe by virtue of the parents that I had and the friends that I was surrounded with, I had friends who also were go-getters, so of course they also sort of inspired. Now it's very important to surround yourself with people. I mean, when we talk about connections, we talk about coaches, we talk about career sponsors, we talk about mentors. They all play different roles at different times in our careers, and it's very key because the world of work, it keeps changing. It's very dynamic and has a lot of challenges. There are people that are different. When I talk to people, when I think about career in general, there are different types of people. There are people that finished school, maybe get into one of the big fours, and in 10 years or so, or how many years, you see them, they've grown so much. But there can also be you who would come out, get a job, or maybe not even get a job in your the first 2 years, frustrated. You get a job, you don't like the job, you try to move, different people, and so because of the different phases, the different stories, what we need will be different. And so I also preach or talk a lot about owning your journey and just understanding that my career journey is unique to me, and I have to understand what is working for me and not necessarily, what's working for other people may work for me, but it needs to be from a very positive mindset. Not that you're comparing yourself in a way that you will be dejected, right? So for me, yes, I didn't have at the time, but I remember that in 2017, 2018, I wanted to change my job. I was just tired, and that was because I was on LinkedIn, and the pressure is real.
God have mercy. The first
So I was seeing friends, or not, maybe old
LinkedIn
friends,
is
or people
something
who
else, yeah.
probably finished school the same year and always announcing. And so I was curious, but I also knew that as much as that pressure was there, it also helped me because I had to ask myself questions. Okay, so where I am now, people like you, you're doing a good job, but is this where you should be? Is this where you want to be? And there wasn't really prospect for growth and all. So at the time, I made the decision to start looking. And at the time, I moved, but I think, in retrospect, maybe if I hadn't made that move, I'd probably still be there. But at the time, I felt like I made a wrong move. Changed my job hurriedly, did not discuss it with anybody except my husband. And it's beautiful to have your spouse support you and everything, but sometimes they may tell you what you want to hear. So that's why that third year is very important, right? They will tell you the truth, regardless of anything. Your husband or wife or whatever may not tell you the truth because they don't want you to be angry. But I mean, it wasn't that he did a bad thing, but he encouraged me to take the risk and said,
Of
you know
moving at
what,
that time.
of moving, and said, you know what, if anything happens,
I did
we had a plan B. Thank you, now I did for you,
you.
because that I did for you really work, because the guy had to put me on allowance
Oh my goodness,
for
you
me to
got that
survive.
bad.
Jesus.
Yes, because when I got into that job, I knew in the very first month that it was a wrong job, and so I managed to stay for 7 months. 7 months. I didn't get a job. I didn't get it. I just packed my things and left. And I remember that while I was on that job, I went for a conference. That somehow, that's why things happen to us, but sometimes we need to see them as blessings. Yes, I was on this job. I wasn't happy. But somehow the title, someone reached out to me and said, I'll never forget that guy's name. It was a white guy who just reached out and said, oh, hi, Adeshola. I see you are head of HR at so place. He was the head of HR role. And then he said, I have a conference coming up in Lagos. Would you like to attend? Please check it out. I went to look at it and I saw a list of speakers. The next thing I saw price, I saw 300 and something thousand. That was more than my monthly salary at the time.
Serious.
I was like, ha. I went back to the man and said, oh, interesting conference, but I don't have money for this conference. And he says, no, just tell me you want to attend and I'll get you tickets. I didn't know this man from anywhere, right? And that's why sometimes just putting yourself, I wasn't even talking on LinkedIn or anything, but I was just on LinkedIn and my profile was right somehow. And so I attended that conference. And one of the panelists there spoke about certain things that resonated well with me, and it felt like I was experiencing those things. And this is where I speak about the place of learning and growing, which is missing in a lot of people these days. Everybody wants the big title, everybody wants to quickly grow,
Exactly.
and all of that. But in that conference, I was learning that a lot of times when you say you're working, I want to be a manager, I want to be this, trust me, being a manager, being a leader, being responsible for a department, it's not easy. It doesn't require just your technical skills. It requires your maturity. It requires a lot more emotional intelligence. You have to be able to be assertive. There are a lot of things that at the time I got a managerial role, but I wasn't prepared for it. And that's the truth.
That's for that toxic job that
yes,
you got.
even though the owner herself had a problem, but I also had some growing up to do.
Yeah.
I had some growing up.
So did you leave where you were because you wanted to scale quickly, because you saw that it was a managerial job, and then
Well, not it wasn't to scale quickly.
Okay.
I left because I had stayed there for 8 years, and yeah, I don't think I had grown as much as I should have grown if I was with a more structured organization. In 8 years, a more structured company would prepare me even for those leadership roles. They would put you on training, they would coach you, they would provide mentorship, but it wasn't there. So somehow I had to get it myself. So when this one came and it was head of HR for a small company, like, give it a shot. You have some technical skills to bring on board. But what the maturity does is that when you face people like those people there, you probably know how better to handle them. Right? Apart from, if walking away is the option, then walk away peacefully. It's true. So at that conference, I then walked up to her and said, oh man, there's something you said and all of that. And she asked, and I said, I changed my job about 2 months ago, and honestly, I already regret it. She looked at me. The first question she asked me was, do you have a mentor? And I looked at her and said, no, I don't. And she said, okay, here, take my card. And that's how she became my mentor. But you know, if I had even opened up about, because they were asking me there, where are you going to? What is it? I refused to tell anybody where I was going to. I didn't want them to say, because truthfully, when I joined that company, somebody, a stranger, reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, you mean you left so place for this place? I'm like, yes. I was like, wow. So you can imagine. So I didn't want anybody to discourage me. I just went, and 6 months I was out, back in the markets. Looking.
That's funny.
Really funny, because I mean, did you do any background checks? Because before getting
So the
to
funny
that
thing
job,
is, I did.
you did.
But again, maybe somebody will learn from this. When you're reaching out to people to find out about a company, ask specific questions. Don't call the person and say, oh, sorry, I just wanted to know, what's it like working here? They can tell you. Ask if you, what's the learning and development like? What's the work culture? So when I spoke with this lady, so I saw that you left this place not too long ago. She just kept responding. I can actually mention their name because I swear I said that I was passing by this road and I said I would stop by at that company on my way back.
The company is there.
Somewhere.
I just said, don't say the name.
I will just know it's somewhere after Chevron if you're going back. I was going to go there and say, here we are today.
Come on, look at me now.
Because I mean, even after I left her, she tried some funny stuff. Some people are just mean, but let's leave her. I'm sure fate is dealing with her somehow. And so I started my relationship with this person, and I just knew that there was still a lot that I could do. So going back into the market, that's when I talked about the allowance. Allowance had to come in because a baby girl has to somehow survive, even though it was painful, right, at the time. But again, yes, that mistake happened, but I didn't let it stop me from moving, because the truth is, there are people who've gone through that and that will be the end for them. And so that was when I started Nigeria Job Hub. To share my experiences, to say if you're leaving a job, you need this, you need that. As I was looking, I was sharing. People even thought I had a job. People reach out to me and say, I'm looking for a job. I was just like, the person you're talking to is looking for a job. But it didn't deter, it didn't stop me from, I just knew, I was thinking about it. Like I said, I talk to myself a lot. And I was talking about it on my way here. And the question just popped in my mind, Shola, what's your biggest fear? And I responded in the car just talking. I said, I don't think it's a fear, but it's just something I pray to God for, that my children don't go through what I went through as a child. And so those things, growing up was a bit tough, financially and stuff. Those things would make me want to move, and I know that if God has blessed me with gifts, I need to express those things
to people,
right? One way or the other, just put it out. So yeah. It's important to have the right people in your corner, whether they're your friends or not. I have friends who are coaches to me. They're my friends. We just.
I was going to ask about that.
And
friendships and all
yeah.
that. You're dropping so many gems. It's hard to leave. You said so many things. Please, let's follow you in that. Like so many gems that you're dropping. I'm sure you have things you want to also delve into.
Matter of fact, I'm wondering. So the period when you were at home, the period when your husband had to start, taking care of the baby girl, how did it feel? Like you said, you didn't let it to stop you, right? You were going on with the Nigeria Hub stuff and all of that. But was there any point in time when you were feeling like, I shouldn't have even come this way, I shouldn't have taken this path at all?
Of course, I had my crying moments. I was used to getting off, going to work and all, and then now I'm a full-time mom.
So if you had the chance, would you have turned back the hand of time to go back to where you were before? Exactly. So I think it's safe for us not to call it a mistake. Somehow I think our lives are strategically planned, and like you said, if that had not happened, you would have not gone for that conference, and today here we are, right? So for me, I would say that, let's not say that was a mistake, let's say.
Well, so it's because now
the journey.
It's because now what you're seeing is the beautiful part of it.
What if it was not beautiful?
If at the time it happened, and then I said, because even while I was doing Nigeria Job Hub, while I was at work, I started a business, a declutter business. So I kind of faced it at the time.
Oh, you're a serious businesswoman. Oh.
I don't even have a businesswoman because I don't even do the business anymore. But I love to explore a lot of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
I like I said, I'm an onion.
Yes, you are.
You can never finish unwrapping me.
Exactly.
Because even me, I've not finished unwrapping myself.
Of course, you've not. But there's something about HR.
Hmm.
We've been talking about you, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And I know there's still more to get from you. But about HR, people believe that HRs of organizations are just for the employer. I want to know, is there a balance? Is there a thin line? Do you think that HR is actually responsible for both the employees and the employer, and not just in favor of who has employed them? That one deep. Let's be honest here, I beg. Let's be honest.
Me too, I want to
I
be
wanted to
honest
bring a
now.
Bible. You just solemnly swear.
Everything
Let me tell you
I'm
people,
saying now.
the thing is that you people, sorry, not you people,
Don't worry, it's fine.
people of the world, they speak based on their experiences, right?
Yeah.
If you've worked in an organization where I have a family friend, like a very big uncle, who worked for one organization all his life. He got in there as a very young guy and left at retired at a very senior level.
Oh.
That guy will not come and say that HR is for organization. He will tell you, this company, because tell you, no, that they provide opportunity for him, train him, send him abroad. When you first start working, they will send you to like 3 countries for training and all of that. So people speak based on experience. There are terrible people who call themselves HR people. Then there are HR professionals. Let's separate it.
Please separate it for us.
Yes,
The fact that people say they are HR, they are probably not even doing HR. A proper HR professional, who is a professional? Somebody who understands the ethics, the value of their profession, and they are living that value.
Living it.
They have the knowledge, they have the skill, and they have the attitude for it. If you're an HR professional, there are different things that, the value chain is quite wide. There is hiring, there is training, there is compensation, there is, what else? There's even exit management, there is talent management, there is learning and development, there's diversity and you know, I'm very touchy about employee engagement because I feel like everything that we do in HR leads to, it has to lead to employee engagement. If I'm hiring someone and the person is not engaged, I haven't done my job. It's either I've done my job and there's some things in the company that isn't helping people to get engaged that we then need to look at, right? Everything that we do should actually lead to people being engaged. That's my own thoughts about employee engagement.
I agree.
So it also depends on experience. That's why I said, there are people that they probably maybe belong to HR groups and whatever. The company has hired them. They are doing admin work. They are not HR. Now, it doesn't also mean that there are people who are not, and like I said, they are not professionals. And I can say that with my chest.
So why do people employ them? And how do
the
people
question
employ them?
is, it's not about why or how. It's also about, like I said, we have to start with the company. There are people who are great people today and they just work with people. It's because HR is a face that a lot of people see. And so it's easy to say it's HR that did that. Now, when it comes to balancing, it's very difficult. And I'm being honest with you here.
Okay.
When it comes to balancing the expectations of your leaders in terms of who you report to, and then the people that you're sort of responsible for, it's tough. And that's why we all need to come to the realization that the work of managing people is not HR's work. Yes.
Really?
It is not. If you have a line manager today, who do you interact with mostly? It's your line manager.
Line manager.
The line manager is responsible for making you feel comfortable. Your line manager is responsible for ensuring that your job is clear, your responsibilities are clear, your KPIs are clear. Your line manager will most probably even fight for you when it comes to promotions and all of those things. But every time we want to push everything to HR, is HR that would hire, is HR that will manage, is HR that will create the culture. HR can drive. HR can be like the champion But at the end of the day, if you have a solid HR person, a bad top leader, and terrible middle people who are directly supervising people, there is no magic that HR can perform. But every small thing, the HR of that company, the HR, and it also has to do with values. For me, one of the things that I've said in my career is, if any job will take me out of, like, will somehow impact my values and make me start doing the things I don't believe in, I'll leave that job. And it's the truth. If I'm on a job where all you expect me to do is to hire, fire, I'll just leave it. I will choose my battles. But sometimes, because of, we're in the economy where things are so tough, people would just rather be at the beck and call of Oga. What Oga says I should do. But you don't really find those things in very structured places where there is a proper way of developing people. When they come in, they understand their path. They know how far they want to be. They understand the roles. They know what the opportunities for growth are. There are several opportunities, except you are not just ready for it. You hardly find those kind of messages, or if you say, oh, HR is this, HR is that, HR is that.
Maybe because HR is like, you don't see the boss, you don't see the main boss.
Why shouldn't you see the main boss?
Sometimes,
you should see the main boss. What kind of boss would have a company and have people, and your people are not seeing you? Then it means you don't value them.
I agree.
So what if your boss is not in the country? Let's just say
that's a different thing. We know
the person who
that's
next
a different.
person, and that's
I know a company today that is a $1 billion valuated company.
Okay.
That is, the guy is not in Nigeria, but somehow there still needs to be support. See, HR will do what the leader wants. Not what wants. They will only be able to do as much if you don't have a supportive leader. That is why any HR professional that wants to be successful must be very careful where they work. If you are very particular about your personal brand, how people perceive you as an HR person, you have to work in the right environment yourself. Because the truth is, everybody's talking about HR this, HR that. Please, who is taking care of HR? It's true.
But I think I should also say that I don't think in this case now, seeing your boss means literally. Sometimes you can
just
have
be
platforms where
accessible.
Thank you.
Surveys. But
right?
then again, before surveys can work, you must have created a safe environment. Because if you tell me that I should speak my mind, and I speak my mind,
I'm never speaking my mind again. Just let me out there.
You speak my mind and then you use my mind against me. So it's a process. And culture is not just HR's work. It is everybody. It is me, you. It is how even you treat the cleaner and everything.
Okay,
is a chain.
Big perspective to this now.
The truth is we shouldn't leave everything to HR. And like I was trying to say earlier, and it's very important for anybody who probably would watch this. It's important that as an HR person, as an individual generally, we all need to have our personal values defined. What is important to you as a person? What kind of work environment you want to create? What kind of impression? We're human beings. There are certain, things that will come out sometimes and you won't like it. But if you truly have taken your time to define what your value is, you will be able to correct yourself even when you've made a mistake and quickly sort of set yourself back on track. But the problem is that many people are I just want to get a job. I get a job, whatever. And I wrote something recently on my LinkedIn profile. I said, if you're not careful, the problem with working in a toxic environment is that you also become toxic. So if your HR is always, if you're an HR person, you're working with a leader who doesn't care about people, you need a people-centric leader for you to be successful. That's the way you can find the balance. Because when you're speaking on behalf of the people, your leader understands the pain based on how you've put it, based on data that this is what people are saying, this is what is happening. When you have somebody who probably only cares about the business, doesn't really care about the people, you can't really function. So eventually what you'll be doing is whatever the bosses say. And when it's not working for you, you pack your bags and leave. I don't. So this whole, I know there's a lot of
There's a lot
Again,
of clamor
okay.
around HR
So
professionals.
there was something you said, right? You differentiated it. You said some of them are just probably admin, they're not professionals. So does writing professional exams automatically make you a professional HR personnel?
Does having a BSc?
What a good way to answer
But yeah,
this question.
definitely.
Okay, go ahead.
No, maybe.
Go ahead with the question.
And it's possible you can say
Yeah.
you're an accountant based on if you have a BSc in accounting, you're an
You're an
accountant.
accountant, I
Right?
think.
So, but when it comes to professionalism, I think it's more experience is required because what you have, right? What you have in, I mean, when we look at competencies and proficiencies, we talk about awareness, knowledge. Then we talk about skill. Then we talk about, being an expert at what you do. So a lot of times when you've gone through an exam, you are aware until you do it. I wouldn't say because I'm head of HR at core, I've done everything in HR. There are some things that I will get to do based on maybe a new opportunity and initiative. That's okay. Now it's time to put this to practice and to really build the skill on it. I believe that skill is beyond training. It has to be practical.
Yeah.
So if you're calling yourself a professional, it really depends on, the profession is the profession. There are certain competencies that are required when it comes to HR, depending on what part of the value chain you're in, or whether you're a generalist, right? There are different things that are required, but also there are some levels of behaviors but beyond that, you just must have done certain things to say that I'm an HR professional. And you say, oh, this is what I've done. I've done recruitment. I know end-to-end recruitment. I can source in my sleep. Oh no, I know about learning. I know about competency building, different things. So yeah, I feel that beyond, and that's why I say to people, it's okay to have certifications, whatever they call it. But I know there's a mentee of mine who met me at the time when she had done even the professional exam that me have not done.
Whoa.
She has done them. But she was just acquiring them because people told her, oh, do this, she went to do it. Do this, she went to do it, but it wasn't helping her. I told her, see, stop writing exams and let's find you a good job that will help you acquire skills.
Hands-on skills that would help
Yes. And so that was what we did for her. And she's the better for it. So if you want to be writing exam, write the exam. But please, I wrote CIPM after, I started, like I said, in 20, I can't remember again.
2014, you said?
I think I started like 2013 or so.
Okay.
And then I stopped because I started having a lot of people cope with pregnancy and exam, but I couldn't cope. So I paused. And then I finally did it maybe in 2018 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And so when I eventually did it, I realized that my experience on the job helped me do the exam better than just going to class, hearing theory and just writing based. I was really now putting down experience, and it helped me to pass the exam. So eventually, experience is always the best. But yes, certifications are good because it's part of
kind of an edge.
Exactly, somehow. And it also sort of helps you to understand, it depends on the exam. If it's a global exam, you understand some global practices. It also helps you to build your network while writing that exam. You're meeting people, you're getting to know a lot about trends and all. But most importantly, people should pursue getting excellent even at doing the job as well, not just having a name that at the end of the name SIBKKK.
Speaking of, let's talk about the people that actually do the job, the people themselves. You've mentioned employee engagement here a couple of times. It's something that we're very passionate about. We all know our reality here in Nigeria. I mean, it's very hard to stay happy at work now. It's a conscious, deliberate effort to remain happy and feel engaged at work. But then again, I'm putting that vis-a-vis people's expectations and what the company can actually do. In times like this, how do you think organizations or HR professionals can get, the people more engaged and more, happy to work?
Ready and happy to work.
To love work again.
To love work, yes.
Okay. I think there's a lot to, when it comes to engagement, right? We're talking about people's connection to the job. How connected are you? You understand the importance of your role. You understand how it ties to
the vision.
say for instance we set goals as a company at the beginning of the year, you know what role you play, you know, so the job is meaningful to you, and maybe you probably also see what the result will be for you in the end. But yes, the economic realities are there. Somebody wrote something on LinkedIn a few days ago and said, I feel like companies right now should not even do, let's talk, an HR person talk about companies not even doing end of the year party. And Alex, the person meant well. The person meant well. The person said they should not do end of the year party, but pay the money to people. So instead of doing end of the year party and bring it, but then again, it can't be one size fits all. The question is, do you even know if employees want that party? Because sometimes employees, you think that's what they want, is actually what they want. So I said, my advice was, you know what, you need to co-create. This is when communication needs to be great, from leadership to people. Top, bottom up, whatever, let it just be flowing. Let people have channels to speak up, speak about how they're feeling, how frustrating it is.
But sometimes you speak and then they use it against you. You mentioned that.
And that's why I say you're not in the right organization.
You mentioned that, then when do you know? The next thing you say,
So we're speaking about what should be.
What should be,
what
right?
And that's what we're talking about. So we're saying that people should be able to express. But what I'm even saying right now, as a business, that's probably even getting hit by even the situation, everything that is happening. You need to also let your people know. Like, you have to be open. Let people know what the numbers are looking like.
Wow.
Let people and understand what people want. Okay, what can we do? And then be flexible enough to turn things around. And this will now take me to, the toughest thing we're facing right now, inflation. In fact, a friend of mine will say, this is not inflation, this is hyperinflation. Food, transportation, all of those things, fueling. People are beginning to sell. People that have 2 cars are beginning to say, let's keep just 1 car, let's sell 1.
It's crazy.
So you need to, there has to be a lot of empathy, right? There has to be a lot of empathy from this point, from the side of, from management, and then of course through HR, because people interact a lot with HR. But it depends on them. Some organizations, the leadership is just very, very open. Anybody can walk up or call or speak. But empathy, there has to be a lot of that. There has to be a lot of communication. So this is where, sorry, we understand how you feel. This is what we're able to do. So we're not able to do. Would have loved to do this, but these are the reasons why we can't do this, right? It's very important, and you just need to continue to communicate the vision, continue to communicate the why, and of course, if there is already trust, if you have built trust before now, they would understand. But if trust was already lacking, then in that kind of place, there's even no engagement. People are just working. They're just there to earn a salary. This is what you told me to do. You told me to place the copy, I'll place it here. You probably won't go the extra mile, do anything extra than what you have written in their job description. So it's that time for some companies, and that's a very dicey conversation, because you mentioned it earlier. Some companies are even at this time saying, I don't think a lot of Nigerian companies are also doing this, moving people from remote work to on-site. But what they're also doing, the good ones, they are made it clear why they have to move from remote work. But then again, they are now adding some perks to say, okay, if you come to the office, it's going to be free lunch, at least you don't have to bother about the food that you're going to eat that day. If they can afford it, and the company is doing well enough, you have to do some adjustments to compensation. You have to think about, there's something we call cost of living adjustment. What is the inflation rate? If you can increase by exactly that rate, no problem. But if you can't, just know what works for you. But because the cost of living has increased, if you were paying somebody 100,000, the value of that 100,000 is now probably 20k. So you need to look at, if not, people will begin to look out. They don't look for better jobs. They will be looking for other ways to make money while also still working for you.
And then you'll work,
right? So
Exactly.
just have to
Find a way.
reassess, understand what works, what you can afford and sustain for some time, because it's not enough to say, oh, this company just did bonus of this, let us do it too. Oh, they just did 50% increase here, we are doing it as well. you need to be able to project and check how long we can, how long can the company afford this, and all of that. And basically just working with people. Cooperation is very, very important. If you're not communicating, that gap will be there, and people will just feel like they don't feel connected.
Feel left out.
They won't feel connected.
I mean, we have to round up now, but just before that, real quick, you talked about very important issues earlier, and I don't think it's something that we should miss. Toxic work, toxic jobs. How do we avoid working in toxic jobs? Is there a way
How
to
do you
go
even
around
identify that the job you're on is toxic?
Thank
to
you. Because some people are stuck. And the thing is, right now, they can't leave because of the economy and the way things are. I mean, this place is paying your bills. I will take all the, kiss assing, sorry, my French, and all of that. So how do you avoid working in stuff? You talked about reaching out to somebody, and telling her that, okay, how is this? But she didn't tell you anything. Sometimes you talk to these people because they are still in that role. They are afraid that, shall I go and tell you now? Not going to hear that you mentioned my name. Do you get? So how do you avoid working in a toxic place? If there's anything like that.
I mentioned one earlier. When you're speaking to people, ask specific questions. That's one. Then she said to me, they need you. That's all she kept saying. They need you. So I thought they were looking for some structure and I could help and all of that, but it was more than that. So ask specific questions. Of course, we can't take away the place of research. Research, keep researching, check reviews, check somehow, maybe somebody would have written something about them on Glassdoor. Just do a random Google search, ask. Then even during your interviews, ask them questions. When you're going for an interview with any company, I always say to people, you're also going to interview them. You also want to know how they fit into your own career plan for yourself. So it's both ways. So you to go there and be ready to ask questions to understand. Candidates always ask me, what's the culture like? And I laugh. But somehow, I still tell them what I can tell them. So yes, that's that.
Can you just directly say, come, are you guys toxic here?
No, you can't ask. You can't ask. What I mean.
Well, how can you sugarcoat it? What best ways?
So the truth is, what I would say now, the truth is you can't really know everything from the outside. You can't really know everything from the outside. Sometimes you get in, unfortunately, before you find out. But like a friend of mine will say that every job has its what's the word show is lifespan. Don't overstay your welcome. So when it's time and you feel that it's time for you to leave, I'll just end with this tips I kind of use and I tell people to use. You need to, I think it's 4 W's or 5 W's. First of all, let's ask yourself, if you're feeling stuck and all, really define and ask yourself why you want to leave. The why needs to be very clear. Is it because of the toxicity, or could it probably even be you yourself? Are you probably not? Some people are not even doing as they should, perform as they should on their jobs, and that's the truth. We have those people who are pure. We call them previously unidentified recruitment errors.
Whoa!
Then there is the where. So like, where am I going to next? Begin to draw up your list. What do you want to do? What's the strategy? There is then the with what. I've worked here for 20 years. All I've done is secretary job. What? So that's why even in your job, you need to be sure that you're acquiring the right transferable skills. Like people who are in one position, they've been doing one job for how many years? They haven't grown at all. With what? And then the when. The when will help you plan in terms of your finances and all of that. And then find the right people to work with in your moving journey. You can't do it alone. So this thing about avoiding toxic places is, if you check for a reason you don't find, if you ask questions and you don't get your response, please take your matter to God and let God give you peace. If you don't have peace of mind, but really I don't know if there's any other practical way of finding out. Or somehow ask. A mistake I made when I went for that interview, I didn't know that it was like a family organization. I got there, this one introduced herself. When I got there, I realized that the person that said it was this person was actually the wife, husband to the MD. Then this one was the son, that one was the cousin. So you need to be very objective and make sure that you speak to somebody. Speak to people. I know someone who recently didn't really speak up when changing jobs. The person is already changing jobs and the person is already regretting. So there's nothing to cover. Speak up. I'm going to this place. Do you know anything about them? There's really nothing to hide. Yeah. To be honest, except from your boss. But that's it.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a loaded session. So much to take and so much to go. But it's workplace whispers. We told you earlier.
I should whisper.
Yes, that's secrets you want to tell someone out there that has made you who you are. In terms of your career that probably people don't know.
Well, I don't know if it's a secret, but there's a model that I use, and I always say, and I'll just say it: know yourself.
Know yourself.
Know your strengths. Don't be afraid to be aware of your weaknesses, because many of us don't want people to tell us what we don't like. So be aware of your weaknesses. Know yourself completely. Like I said, at least to an extent, I know myself. I know what I can do. And then own yourself.
Own yourself.
Own yourself in the sense that you accept your strengths. You accept those weaknesses, but you're willing to work on them to be better. You also understand. Knowing yourself is also knowing, I'm going back a bit, knowing yourself is knowing what your plan is. Sit down, drop your career plan, know what you want to do, know the kind of career you want to build. So by the time you're owning yourself, you have accepted the areas where you need to improve on. You go to school, you improve your knowledge, you take courses, you network properly and all of that. And then continue to grow yourself. You keep growing. There's no, I don't think anybody ever gets too old to learn. And that's the truth. We keep learning no matter what it is. And then I would end it by saying give to yourself. So it's the KOGG, give to yourself. We all have something to give. You don't have to be making noise to give it. It's not about going on LinkedIn and you can even give it quietly, but in giving, you're also developing yourself. So give, volunteer, support other people's causes, anything. That's what I do, and that's what really helps me to thrive. In short.
Beautiful.
KOGG, I'm going to read more on that. Give to yourself.
Actually, you won't find it.
You won't find it.
Really,
It's
well?
a secret now.
So
know yourself.
It's the acronym for me.
Yeah, and
know
sign up for my
yourself.
coaching. So
Own
we will
yourself.
now dig deep into
it.
the
What's the
model.
first G? Know yourself, own yourself. First
Grow
G,
yourself.
grow yourself, and then
gifts.
give.
No, not give.
Gifts.
Gifts.
Give to yourself.
I've never heard that anywhere.
I mean, never
Right
ever.
here. And that's what happens at workplaces, but things you've never heard anywhere. You hear it right here. And then maybe we'll have this off the camera and off the mic. Now your career coaching, very interesting and very important. The idea of mentorship. Most people, that's one mistake that most people have. Most people don't have mentors and all of that. So people want to reach out to you probably for coaching and all of that. How do they do that?
My name is Adeshola. You go everywhere. Instagram, LinkedIn, anywhere. That's my name. So you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn anywhere.
Thank you very much. I think that's our time, right?
Yes,
Thank you.
it's about time.
It's
It's about
interesting.
time that we wrap up this awesome session today. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming to the show. We really appreciate all that you had to dish out to us today.
Thank you.
For some reason, I don't want to go, but we have
I
to
know,
call it a
right?
wrap here. It's Workplace Whispers. Maybe, just maybe, we get to drag her into the studio again.
I think not maybe. I think we will, because there's still a lot she hasn't said. I think.
I mean, so we'll be talking with the amazing Adeshola Aliogo. That's the HR professional, head people and culture at Cora, and also the founder of Niger Job Hub. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for having me.
My name is Praisumba.
And my name is Anne.
I'm going to do that. My name is Adeshola.
No, please keep the HR. Please, this is our job.
You never. I told you I'm an onion.
Okay.
Yes, she is. You'll be shocked.
You'll be shocked.
So you've done this too. Oh my
I
goodness.
practiced in front of the mirror a couple of times.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
Thank you so
Anyway,
much.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.